I had been Nathan's secretary for 9 years, conscientious and diligent. Just as I was finally about to be promoted to vice president, he parachuted in his first love to take my position. He said her academic qualifications were better than mine, that she was more capable. I looked at the man I had loved for 10 years, speechless. As soon as I entered the office, people greeted me with smiles. Congratulations, Charlotte. We can't call you Secretary Charlotte anymore. ITLL have to be Director Charlotte. After 10 years of hard work, you've finally made it to the top. We'll be counting on your guidance. Director Charlotte. You have to treat us all to dinner tonight to celebrate. Well, I'll be working under you from now on. I looked at my colleagues' smiling faces and smiled back. It's not decided yet. It's too early to say. Oh, come on. It's a done deal. Just a formality now. Director Charlotte, you're just too modest. I waved my hand with a smile and headed to the conference room. My colleagues weren't just flattering me. I had been with New Horizon for 10 years. By Nathan's side since he started the company as a sophomore in college. My title was secretary, but I not only drafted proposals, negotiated partnerships, and researched the company's development direction. I also took care of his daily life. It was no exaggeration to say that without me, there would be no New Horizon, and Nathan wouldn't be where he is today. This VP position was what I deserved. I suppressed my joy and walked into the conference room, where the senior management was already seated. However, the atmosphere inside was completely different from the celebratory mood outside. The room was silent. When they saw me enter, my colleagues, with whom I had worked for years, had expressions of barely concealed resentment and pity. My hand paused. I looked toward Nathan at the head of the table. He sat with his fingers interlaced, and next to him was a woman with long, black hair, wearing a pearl-white dress. She looked completely out of place in the serious meeting. In that instant, my heart plunged into ice water, but I still held on to a sliver of hope and asked softly, Nathan, who is this? Nathan avoided my gaze, feigning a relaxed tone. This is our company's new vice president, Serena G. Later, you can take her to HR to sort out the paperwork. As for her office, let's put it next to mine. I stood frozen, feeling as if I had been slapped in public, the world spinning around me. The department manager beside me couldn't hold back any longer and slammed his hand on the table as he stood up. Nathan, what is the meaning of this? Didn't we agree the VP position was for Charlotte? Exactly. The HR manager frowned. We've all seen how much Charlotte has contributed over the years. It's not right for you to just replace her on a whim. These were the colleagues I had fought alongside for years. We had always been close. Nathan's face darkened, his gaze sweeping across the room. A moment later, his voice held a hint of anger. Who is the CEO here? Me or you? The department manager didn't back down. You're the CEO. But the company doesn't belong to you alone. Is it reasonable to just bring someone in from nowhere to be the VP? Nathan sneered. Serena is a master of finance and economics from Columbia. Her qualifications are better than Charlotte's, and her abilities are superior. I'm doing this for the good of the company. All you think about are personal connections. But a company's growth can't be based on sentiment. I looked at Serena's familiar face and let out a cold laugh. Nathan, cut the crap. After all that, isn't it just because she's your first love? I had known Nathan since high school. Others might not know, but I remembered Serena very well. She was Nathan's first love. They had a passionate, dramatic romance back then. But they broke up after a huge fight because he wanted to stay in the country to start his business, and she wanted to study abroad. Over the years, women had come and gone from Nathan's life, but none had lasted as long as Serena. Exposed so bluntly, Nathan's face turned ugly. He leaned back in his large leather chair and looked at me with contempt. Serena is my first love. But was I wrong about what I said? She is more qualified and capable than you. Charlotte, you need to accept reality. The meeting ended in discord, with me storming out and slamming the door. To replace me during my own promotion meeting, I didn't know why Nathan would do this to me. He could have told me beforehand, but he chose the most humiliating way possible. Alex, the department manager, was someone I had personally recruited 7 years ago. He was the most indignant. He stopped working and came to my desk, grumbling sarcastically. I heard that Serena got into some trouble abroad, got fired from her company, and her reputation is in the gutter. She couldn't find a job. So she came back. Did you see him? He completely ignored all of us, fawning over his little lover. It's disgusting. I spit on him. I said nothing, staring blankly at my desk. It was old from years of use, the corners covered in scratches. After 9 years at the company, I still didn't have my own office. Nathan had said the company was short on space, and since I was always in his office anyway, it was pointless to give me one. It was better to let someone else have it. I had foolishly agreed at the time, but now, Serena got her own office the moment she arrived, complete with a luxurious mahogany desk and chair, and the most expensive, high-spec Mac. Only then did I understand that all the reasons were just excuses. It was simply that Nathan didn't think I was worth it. Why don't you just quit? Alex took a sip of water, still fuming. Well, I'll leave with you. This company is going to fall apart sooner or later. I was silent for a moment, then said softly, "Can you bear to leave?" He froze, speechless. We had all been there since the company's inception, fighting side by side. For us, it was more than just a job. New Horizon was the child I had raised. I couldn't bear to leave it. My colleagues were even more dissatisfied with Serena becoming VP than I was, especially the senior management. We had worked together for so long without any conflicts of interest, and our bond was unusually strong. Although they couldn't openly defy Nathan, they expressed their displeasure in subtle ways. Serena's work was not going smoothly. Alex, who was supposed to be her point of contact, refused to give her important clients, only passing on insignificant or particularly difficult ones. Information from other departments was doled out like toothpaste from a tube. She only got what she asked for, and nothing more. When Nathan angrily confronted them, they would say, "How was I supposed to know what she needed? I gave her everything she asked for." Having no other choice, Nathan decided to target me. He called me into his office and said diplomatically, "You've worked hard all these years. Your title was secretary, but you did everything." I looked at him, my expression blank. "If you have something to say, just say it." Nathan was annoyed by my lack of tact, but forced himself to continue. "Now that Serena is here, you won't have to be so busy anymore. Why don't you hand over the clients you're managing to her? From now on, you can just focus on being a secretary." He said it so casually, as if it were nothing. I swayed, in disbelief. "What did you say?" The clients I was managing were long-term clients I had cultivated for years. He knew exactly what it had cost me to win them over. Back then, the company was just starting out, struggling to survive, with no resources. We had to snatch clients from the cracks between the big corporations. It was anything but easy. Those people were all incredibly difficult. I still remember when we had just graduated. A pot-bellied client in his 50s took us to a karaoke bar, pointed to a row of drinks on the table, and grinned at Nathan, revealing a set of yellow teeth. "One drink from you, and I'll sign $1 million order. Don't say your big brother doesn't look out for you. That's a pretty valuable drink, isn't it?" Nathan was proud and couldn't stand such humiliation. He grabbed my hand, ready to storm out. But I knew that if we didn't secure this deal, the company's cash flow would break. All our hard work would be for nothing. I looked up at him with a reassuring smile and pulled him away, sitting down in front of the client. "Mr. Wong, he can't hold his liquor. Let me drink with you." To this day, I remember the sharp taste of that drink. It was whiskey, a caramel-colored liquid burning with a fiery heat. As it went down my throat and into my stomach, I felt as if my whole body was being set ablaze. I couldn't drink, but I had 8 glasses that day. When I finally rushed to the bathroom, I was vomiting my guts out, my face a mess of tears and snot. But I still clung to that client, making him sign the contract on the spot. He was stunned by my desperation and gave me a thumb up. "Little sister, you're incredible. You've really opened my eyes today." He signed a $10 million deal with New Horizon right then and there. The moment he signed the last letter, I passed out. I was rushed to the hospital, had my stomach pumped, and after a whole night of torment, I barely survived. I remember when I opened my eyes. It was dawn. Nathan was slumped by my bedside, his eyes red as he watched me. I managed a weak smile. "Why are you crying?" "Our baby is safe now." Back then, he always called New Horizon our baby. I was a bit embarrassed at first, but I would often secretly delight in that intimate term when I was alone. I loved Nathan. I knew it. And he knew it too. Nathan was still young then. Far from the composed man he was now. He choked back sobs. Why did you have to do that? If it's gone, it's gone. Last night, you almost. He couldn't continue. His head bowed, his body trembling slightly, his voice cracking. Don't ever scare me like that again. But I felt it was worth it. Because of that incident, I developed a chronic stomach problem that persists to this day. After that, similar incidents happened several more times. Nathan was too young and proud back then, unable to tolerate many things. I was always the one who stood in front of him. I loved him, and I was willing to do everything in my power to help him, to protect his dream. How foolish I was back then. I thought, I can suffer this for him, and that's wonderful. But the man who had sworn he would never let me down was now trying to push me out of the company's core. My voice trembled. Nathan, you know how much I've given for this company over the years. Why the hell are you doing this to me? Nathan frowned impatiently. I know you've given a lot for the company, but who hasn't? Is it really necessary to keep bringing it up? Serena just got here, and she doesn't understand a lot of things. Just hand over these clients to her for now. Besides, what does a secretary need clients for? No, I said coldly. Nathan was stunned, as if he hadn't expected me to refuse. If I were you, I wouldn't make myself look so pathetic, Serena said, pushing the door open. She walked to Nathan's side, looked up at me disdainfully. Just because you've been here a long time doesn't mean you can forget your place. The company belongs to Nathan. Without him, you're nothing. She narrowed her eyes, her tone mocking. If you're smart, you'll cooperate with me now and you can keep your job. Otherwise, I can just fire you, and you'll have to pack your bags and leave. I didn't reply, just looked at Nathan and said softly, do you think so too? Nathan looked at me, his expression unchanged. Serena is the VP of the company. She has the authority to decide on personnel matters. After a moment, I nodded calmly. I understand. I ripped the work badge from my chest and threw it onto Nathan's desk. You don't have to fire me. I fucking quit. As soon as I stepped out, I saw several people who had been eavesdropping. Alex was furious. How can he be so shameless? I'm quitting too. I'll go with you. The others looked upset. Charlotte, you practically built New Horizon from the ground up. What are we going to do if you leave? Are we really supposed to work for that nepotism hire? I forced a smile and patted Alex on the shoulder. Forget it. You still have loans to pay. I'll go first. When I make it big, I'll definitely poach you. The day I left New Horizon, it was snowing. I held my box of belongings and looked back. The building was shrouded in the falling snow, its bright lights shining in the gloomy sky. I don't know if it was the snow getting in my eyes, but they suddenly felt wet. This was the place I had worked for 9 years. I had watched it grow from our dorm room to a small rental near the university, then to a 2-story shop, and finally to a skyscraper in the city center. I still remember when we first moved in, a few of us hugging, crying, and laughing, sitting cross-legged on the empty floor, boasting about how we were about to strike it rich. I was once willing to give my life to protect it, but in just a few short years, I had to say goodbye completely. After I left, I heard that Serena held a meeting to assert her authority, warning everyone that if they didn't cooperate with her, they would end up like me fired. Alex gave her no face at all, retorting on the spot. End up like what? Getting hired by Xinglu as a VP with a huge salary. Serena's face turned green, and she couldn't continue the meeting, leaving in a huff. She was a fool. An all-around talent like me had always been coveted. In the early years, when New Horizon was still small, many large companies had tried to poach me, offering annual salaries starting in the millions. I had rejected all of them, pouring my heart and soul into Nathan and New Horizon, content with a salary of a few thousand a month. But now, I no longer had those constraints. The day after I quit, I called the CEO of New Horizon's biggest rival. Xinglu, I hear you're short on people. Do you think I'd be a good fit? Marcus, the CEO of Xinglu, made a decision on the spot. We're not short on much, except a vice president. If you come, you can start tomorrow. He wasn't just making empty promises. The next day, he took me through the paperwork and introduced me to all the departments. From now on, MS. Charlotte Sin is the vice president of Xinglu. Her word is my word. Over the next few days, I want you all to report your work to her and cooperate with her fully. That evening, Marcus held a welcome party for me. I raised my glass to him. Director Marcus, it's an honor to work with all of you at Shenglu. Here's to a successful partnership. Marcus smiled, his eyes crinkling with a roguish charm. No, it is Shenglu's honor to have you, Ms. Sin. The new work environment was much better than I had imagined. I finally had a large office. The people at Shenglu didn't give me any trouble for coming from New Horizon. In fact, I had a certain reputation in the industry, and they were already aware of my abilities. Everything went surprisingly smoothly, until I received my first major project. I froze when I opened the file. This project was the marketing collaboration with the publicly listed company Morningstar that I had been working on at New Horizon. It was a huge deal, crucial for all the major companies in our city. Nathan, not trusting anyone else, had put me in charge. I had spent half a month creating a proposal I was satisfied with. Given how highly Nathan valued Serena, this project must have been handed over to her now. A fire ignited within me. This was my first project since leaving New Horizon. My chance to prove myself. This time, I would show them what New Horizon was without me. On the day of the negotiations, Marcus took me with him. Before we even entered the room, we ran into Nathan and Serena, who had just arrived. Serena frowned slightly when she saw me. Nathan's expression was complicated. His lips moved as if he wanted to say something. I walked past him without a single glance. After the meeting began, we sat opposite each other. I looked at Nathan, my heart a mix of emotions. This was the first time I wasn't sitting by his side, but across from him. How ironic. The person in charge from Morningstar adjusted his glasses. This project is very important to us. We appreciate you all coming. Why don't you each present your proposals, and we'll discuss and make a decision. Serena eagerly stood up, took her proposal, and began her presentation. New Horizon has a strong advantage in precision marketing. As you can see, these are our past successful cases, including the marketing we did for Jingy Catering. In half a year, their market placement, share, and sales increased significantly. And also Ruochati. I watched her, my face devoid of expression. These were all my cases. She had some nerve presenting them as her own. And as she continued, I realized something was wrong. The content of New Horizon's proposal sounded more and more familiar. This was the proposal I had written. A surge of anger flared in my chest. I turned and stared at Nathan. I never thought he could be so shameless. To take the proposal I had worked so hard on and give it to Serena. I had given that proposal to Alex before I left. Nathan must have taken it from him for her. For a moment, I couldn't tell if I was more angry or sad. I had been Nathan's secretary for 9 years. Conscientious and diligent. Even if he didn't love me, we were at least former partners. How could he be so despicable? Nathan, probably feeling guilty, didn't dare to meet my gaze. In that moment, my disappointment in him was absolute. After Serena finished her grand presentation, I saw a flicker of satisfaction in the Morningstar representative's eyes. He praised, as expected of New Horizon, consistently high standards. Miss J's proposal is excellent. Serena accepted the compliment without a hint of guilt. Thank you. Now, let's hear from Shenglu. Marcus nodded at me, and I walked to the front with my proposal. This proposal had been rushed, and I couldn't say it was better than the one Serena held. After listening, the Morningstar representative simply nodded. In that case, wait. I interrupted. I have a question for Miss G. In your proposal, you stated that New Horizon has 18 marketing agencies in S City. However, to my knowledge, New Horizon actually has only 8. I was wondering where the other 10 came from. This was a mistake from when I was drafting the proposal. A typo I had left uncorrected when I left. Serena froze. Under the Morningstar representative's gaze, she frantically flipped through her proposal. But the more anxious she got, the more she couldn't find the data. Of course she couldn't. She hadn't created it. She was just reading from a script. I sneered. Can't you even remember the data from your own work? Or were you deliberately exaggerating? Lying to win the project? Are you treating this partnership with such an irresponsible attitude? How can you expect the other party to trust you? Serena was completely flustered. She gritted her teeth and glared at me. It was you. You did this on purpose. I shrugged innocently. This is New Horizon's proposal. What does it have to do with me? The Morningstar representative frowned. Falsifying data was a major taboo in business. He said grimly. Miss G, what exactly is the meaning of this? Serena stammered, unable to speak. Nathan quickly tried to smooth things over. I'm sorry, Mr. Zhang. Our intern made a typo. It is, in fact, 8 agencies. New Horizons' reputation has always been excellent. You can look at our past cases. Before he could finish, I cut him off coldly. I did all those past cases. What do they have to do with you? Jingy Foods, Ruocha Tea, Aurora Apparel. Which of those marketing plans wasn't done by me? Charlottson. And you have the audacity to claim them. Marcus smiled at the opportune moment. Mr. Zhang, I forgot to mention. Our VP, MS. Charlottson, previously worked at New Horizon. All the successful cases you've seen were handled by her. If you choose to partner with Shenglu, MS. Sin will also be in charge of this marketing campaign. When we left the building, Nathan's face was darker than coal. Morningstar had flatly rejected New Horizon's proposal and signed with us. We are very disappointed in New Horizon. Mr. Zhang had said bluntly, his face cold. You are too irresponsible. You don't even know how many agencies you have. We will not consider working with New Horizon in the future. This project would determine which of our 2 companies would dominate the S-City market, and its impact was crucial. Nathan had been preparing for it for a long time. This failure would be a devastating blow to him. When I was with him, he rarely experienced failure, so this was especially hard for him to accept. As we walked out, he looked at me, his voice laced with unmistakable blame. Charlotte, you showed no mercy at all. I raised an eyebrow. Business is war. Is Director Nathan still thinking about personal feelings? He clenched his fists, frowning at me. So, a mere VP position is enough for you to betray our history. You're so pragmatic. I looked at Nathan and saw that he was serious. He genuinely believed I was in the wrong. For a moment, I found it utterly absurd. I was so angry I laughed, a smirk playing on my lips. Nathan, being useless is one thing, but being useless and shameless is another. When I was there, you relied on me for everything, yet you suppressed me. You parachuted in this. I glanced at Serena disdainfully. Useless person to steal my VP position. And now you have the nerve to call me pragmatic. You disgust me. My smile vanished, and I enunciated each word clearly. Nathan's face turned pale. He opened his mouth but couldn't say a word. He looked at me in disbelief, as if he couldn't comprehend how the person who had always stood firmly by his side could suddenly turn on him. I didn't look at him again and walked away. The day he allowed Serena to drive me out of New Horizon, the last shred of affection I had for him was completely worn away. These 10 years were just a long dream. Now that I was awake, it was time for me to move on. After a while, Alex called me to complain. I can't believe this, Serena. Isn't she supposed to be some Columbia graduate? She seems like an idiot to me. Her proposals are full of holes. The numbers don't even add up. And she won't let us review them. As if she's afraid we'll steal her ideas. The client was furious after seeing the proposal and canceled the contract. Damn it. I spent almost half a year working on that contract. She's such a jinx. He took a sip of water and continued. You have no idea. She's managed to offend almost all the clients in the past few months. Our performance has dropped by over 40. After hanging up, I was silent. I had actually predicted this when I left. For years, I had done everything for Nathan. I'm the type of person who, when I love someone, I give them my heart. I move mountains for them. Only now did I realize that what comes too easily is often not cherished. I had protected Nathan too well. For years, the cases he handled were all ones I had carefully selected and prepared. His success was always backed by my support. Without me, he was nothing. I wanted nothing more to do with him. But in S-City, there were only a few major companies, so we were bound to cross paths. In late October, Marcus brought me a project. This company is from the capital, quite large. They're looking for a marketing campaign recently. Take a look. After studying it for a long time, I said gravely, we can't take this project. Look, this company is large, and their budget is high. If their information is correct and their product is good, why wouldn't they promote it in the capital instead of coming here? To put it bluntly, can our market even compare to the capital's? You should investigate their product. I'm afraid there might be a problem. A few days later, Marcus returned, his expression serious. You were right. I had someone look into it. Their previous product had issues. This company is just a shell corporation set up to clear out defective inventory. If you hadn't been so vigilant, we would have been screwed. I thought that was the end of it. But when I ran into Nathan again at an industry association meeting, I found out that they had taken the project. Serena, clinging to Nathan's arm, sneered at me. Charlotte, do you really think New Horizon can't survive without you? We just landed a huge project, much bigger than anything you ever did. You were just lucky before. Riding on New Horizon's coattails. You don't actually think the world can't turn without you, do you? I looked at Nathan, hesitating, out of a desire for revenge. I didn't want to tell him the truth, but New Horizon was a company I had built with my own hands, and I couldn't bear to see it fall into ruin. Nathan, however, misunderstood my meaning. He stared at me. Charlotte, I can do just fine without you. I don't need you. I swallowed the words I was about to say and smiled faintly. That's wonderful to hear. In the following days, Nathan and Serena were visibly smug. This was the first major deal they had closed since I left, and they were eager to show it off, making it a very high-profile campaign. All of New Horizon's marketing agencies were working overtime to promote the product. But the higher you climb, the harder you fall on the day of judgment. One late autumn evening, the first post exposing the product scandal appeared online. The promotion had later included infant formula, and many babies had been hospitalized with vomiting and diarrhea after drinking it. At first, Nathan and his team could pay to have the posts removed. But as more and more reports surfaced, the situation quickly escalated. It completely spiraled out of control in November when 2 toddlers died of respiratory distress after drinking the formula. It was like kicking a hornet's nest. The incident blew up. People were furious. All websites and news outlets were reporting on the tragedy. The company's dark secrets were exposed. And New Horizon, which had promoted the product, was also dragged through the mud, their reputation in tatters. Promoting such a soulless product. Isn't the boss afraid of earning money he won't live to spend? How can a product like this even be promoted? There must be some underthinkable deals. This needs to be investigated. This evil company must be shut down. Suddenly, New Horizon was the target of public outrage. Many of their old clients had already left after being offended by Serena, and some had followed me to Shanglu. The remaining few, after this incident, no longer dared to work with New Horizon and terminated their contracts. Nathan was overwhelmed, begging for help everywhere. But to no Charlottile, just as I thought New Horizon was about to learn a lesson, Alex came to me. He looked haggard, with dark circles so deep I was afraid he might collapse on the spot. I was shocked. Is it really that serious? Alex rubbed his face and said nothing. After a moment, he buried his head in his hands, his voice a mix of emotions. Charlotte, New Horizon is finished. I frowned. It should be fine once the storm passes, right? You guys just didn't do your due diligence. The main responsibility lies with the manufacturer. Alex gave a bitter smile. It's not just that. You have no idea. It's been chaos at New Horizon these past few days. After the incident, that idiot Serena panicked and sought advice from an old acquaintance. The person told her to show them the company's files so they could help. Isn't that leaking commercial secrets? I was stunned. It is. Yeah, Alex said wearily, propping his head on his hand. She was the only one who didn't know. She naively showed them everything. But it turned out they weren't trying to help. They were trying to finish them off. Now all of New Horizon's proposals have been leaked, including ones for current clients. They're all suing. And the company doesn't have nearly enough money to pay the damages. New Horizon probably won't survive this time. It took us so many years to build it up. How could it all be over so quickly? I was silent. I didn't know what to say. I had invested nearly a decade of my life in New Horizon. Seeing it like this, I felt a pang of sorrow. Why did Nathan have to bring back someone so incompetent to be the VP? Alex was baffled. I thought he liked that Serena, but I don't think they're even together. The last time she asked him to dinner, he refused. I don't know. I shook my head. I never knew what Nathan was thinking. And now, it didn't matter anymore. While we were eating, Alex received a video call. The other end was chaotic. A cacophony of voices. What's going on? Alex asked, confused. Mr. Alex. The new intern was on the verge of tears. The police are here to take away VPG. They said she leaked commercial secrets and someone reported her. The office is in chaos. Please come back. I looked at the screen. The New Horizon office was crowded with clients, some of whom I recognized. They were pointing at Serena, shouting, "We gave you our information for the marketing campaign. We signed confidentiality agreements. What is the meaning of this? Our latest product information has been leaked. What about our losses?" "Yes, and us. Didn't you promise it wouldn't be leaked? Where's Secretary Charlotte? This never happened when she was here. How come as soon as you arrive? Our product information is everywhere. Are you people at New Horizon crazy?" Serena's makeup was ruined by her tears. She sobbed in panic. "I don't know. I didn't know he was a liar. How can you blame me? You should go after him." She could only repeat those two sentences, like a broken record. The clients quickly lost their patience. "Bullshit. We gave the information to you, not him. Why would we go after him? Save it for the police." The clients started to drag her away. Serena reached out to Nathan in terror. "Nathan, save me. I did all of this for you. For the company." "Bah." The HR manager sneered. "How shameless. You've practically destroyed the company for its own good. We can't afford to keep a goddess like you. You should just go." Serena looked around, only to find everyone staring at her coldly. The company they had worked for was suddenly on the verge of collapse, and everyone was facing unemployment. No one had a kind word for her. "Nathan," she pleaded, crying. But Nathan only gave her one look. His eyes filled with disgust. She was stunned for a moment before being dragged away. I didn't need to go out of my way to find out what happened next. The news spread throughout the city's companies. Every company learned from New Horizon's mistake, conducting internal audits and confidentiality training to prevent similar incidents. New Horizon couldn't be saved. The compensation was too much, and their funds were completely depleted. Even with Nathan pouring in his own money, it was impossible to reverse the decline. In the end, it was sold for a ridiculously low price. New Horizon was finished, and so was Nathan. Serena was sentenced to 3 years in prison for leaking commercial secrets. I heard that even before she was taken away. She was still screaming that it wasn't her fault. But no one listened. Not even Nathan went to see her again. I took a day off from Marcus, not really knowing what I wanted to do. I just wandered the streets. Eventually, I looked up and saw the brightly lit New Horizon building. But the company's logo had been removed, leaving an empty space. Unconsciously, I had walked back here. The weather was bad on this winter evening. A cold wind howled, and the gray sky pressed down heavily. The day I left New Horizon, the weather was just like this. But now, there were no lights shining anymore. I stood on the street with my hands in my pockets, just watching quietly until my eyes began to ache. From 20 to 29, I had poured my entire youth into this place. I had watched it grow from a few college students' playful idea into a multi-million-dollar company. This was once my dream, my faith, something I was willing to fight for my whole life. I never thought I would witness its downfall so soon. I blew on my freezing hands and slipped into a small, hole-in-the-wall wonton shop. The shop was tiny, hidden away, known only to a few regulars. The owner saw me, wiped down a table, and greeted me warmly. "You're here. Haven't seen you in a while. Been busy with work." I opened my mouth. "Yeah, been too busy." Still mild spicy. I nodded and sat down at a small table. The tables and chairs were greasy, as if they could never be truly clean. But the food was excellent. In the early years, when Nathan and I were just starting out and had no money, we would come here for a few skewers and a couple of beers whenever we had a craving. He was a terrible drinker. One beer and he'd be flushed and talking nonsense. When we go to ring the bell at NASDAQ, we have to do it together. I would laugh at him. "Ring the bell. You look more like a bell. We don't even have any clients yet." He would just giggle, his eyes shimmering under the cheap incandescent light bulb. After we ring the bell, well, the shop was too noisy, and his voice was too soft. I couldn't hear him. "Well, what?" But he would just smile and say no more. Only a few years had passed. Now I was sitting in the same old place, drinking beer alone. An indescribable feeling in my heart. A sour, bitter ache. Everything had changed beyond recognition. How did it come to this? The curtain at the entrance was lifted, and a cold draft blew in. Someone sat down in the empty seat across from me. The owner laughed. You two used to always come together. Then you started coming alone. I thought you had broken up. Turns out you're still together. That's great. Nathan didn't correct him. Boss. A case of beer. Coming right up. He sat down as if he owned the place, picked up my beer, and took a sip. The cold, carbonated liquid made him frown. I couldn't help but mock him. Is Director Nathan too used to fine liquor to drink beer anymore? But Nathan didn't say anything. After a moment, he said in a low voice, Charlotte, do you think him completely useless? A total failure. I sneered. Is that even a question? He managed a bitter smile. New Horizon is gone. I couldn't save it. I sold it. I know. I always thought that I could make it without you. Nathan's voice was desolate. I thought I didn't need your protection anymore. I took a sip of beer, pushing down the bitterness in my heart. I had ordered a lot of skewers, but Nathan didn't touch a single one. Just kept drinking. He was already a lightweight, and he was drinking quickly. Soon, his eyes were hazy with drunkenness. In a daze, I saw a flash of the young Nathan and the man in the suit and tie before meth boy in the white t-shirt who had boasted about taking me to ring the bell at the stock exchange. That Nathan had been gone for a long time. The Nathan of today, far from taking me to ring any bells, probably just wanted to see me dead. Now, only in his drunkenness could I catch a fleeting glimpse of the past. Charlotte, do you know why I brought Serena back to be the VP? I thought for a moment. Because you felt I was a threat to your position. This was something I had figured out later. We were all adults. It was unlikely to be some fairy tale about a first love. Even if he did have feelings for Serena, he wouldn't have gambled with something as important as the company. It was probably because he felt my authority in the company was too great, that I was a threat to him as the CEO. So he had to find a way to get rid of me. Nathan laughed. But it was a laugh uglier than a cry. No, I just wanted to prove to you that without your protection, Nathan, could still succeed. Do you remember that time you were forced to drink? How could I forget? Even now, my stomach would ache late at night. You couldn't drink before either, he said, his gaze hazy, as if he were looking through me to a time long ago. When you were rushed into the emergency room, the doctor gave me a critical condition notice. You have no idea how scared I was. I even thought, I don't want the company anymore. I don't want to be an entrepreneur anymore. I just want you to be okay. I don't know if it was the bitterness of the beer or the bitterness in my heart, but hearing his words, I felt a strange urge to cry. Nathan downed the beer in his hand, his eyes turning red as he crushed the can. At that moment, I felt so useless, needing you to protect me like that. I said in a low voice, I was willing to. I liked you then. I just wanted you to be okay. I couldn't stand to see you suffer. And you think I could stand it? He suddenly said. I never responded to your feelings all these years. Not because I didn't like you, but... He lowered his head, his voice laced with pain. I didn't think I was worthy. A man who always needs a woman to protect him. What right does he have to talk about love? I was holding my breath, thinking that one day I could protect you instead, so you wouldn't have to be so tired. His voice cracked with a sob. I just didn't want you to have to stand in front of me anymore. A man nearly 30 years old, sobbing in a roadside barbecue joint. I took a sip of beer, feeling the cold liquid slide down, warming my stomach. After a moment, I said, don't make it sound so noble. You might have had a fraction of that thought, but wasn't the most important thing your competitive spirit? You couldn't stand being second to me, always hidden in my shadow. So you used such tactics to force me out. Even if it wasn't Serena, it would have been some other Serena. The point is, I couldn't stay at New Horizon. Nathan fell silent. I finished the last bottle of beer and stood up. Boss. He's paying. The owner smiled. You got it. I picked up my coat and lifted the curtain. It had started snowing at some point. Fat flakes swirling in the wind, illuminated by the surrounding lights into a warm, dim yellow. From behind me, Nathan called out, his voice trembling. Charlotte, if I said I know I was wrong, would you come back? I didn't answer. I let the curtain fall and walked out into the snowstorm. In late January, just as I was preparing to resign, Alex called me. His voice was weary and filled with a complex emotion. Nathan was in a car accident. Is it serious? I tightened my grip on my cup. Alex was silent for a long time before saying softly, they couldn't save one of his legs. It was amputated. His hand was broken too. They said it. But the doctor said he'll probably only be able to do light activities from now on. He won't be able to lift anything heavy. My mind went blank. How could this happen? He went out drinking, then drove on the highway. Drunk driving, Alex said dejectedly. With New Horizon gone, he was probably the one who was hurting the most. If you have time, you should go see him. After hanging up, I still couldn't believe it. I sat at my desk all afternoon, unable to do any work. Every time I closed my eyes, all I could see was Nathan's face, covered in blood. He was such a proud person. How could he accept being disabled for the rest of his life? But after much hesitation, I decided not to go see him. Nathan had been competing with me for so long. In his current state, he definitely wouldn't want me to see him so pathetic. Our relationship had run its course. From a youthful encounter to mutual disdain, this fragile relationship, entangled with so many other things, had shattered before it could even be spoken aloud. Let it end here, I thought, looking out at the blood-red sunset. It was a mistake from the beginning. It's enough that it ends here. When I submitted my resignation, Marcus tried desperately to keep me. Is the compensation not good enough? If there's anything you're not satisfied with, you can tell me, and I'll change it. I smiled and shook my head. The company has been very good to me, and Director Marcus has been a great mentor. I'm just a little tired and want to rest for a while, Marcus said regretfully. Then you must come back after you've rested. The doors of Xinglu will always be open for you. In the following days, I traveled everywhere. Chengdu, Hangzhou, Inner Mongolia, Tibet. I went to the Maldives, Egypt, toured Europe, then Southeast Asia. I had dedicated my best years to work. Only after all that had happened did I realize I had never truly enjoyed life. I indulged myself, walking barefoot on bioluminescent beaches, riding horses across vast grasslands, and getting lost in the magical auroras under the Icelandic sky. There was more to life than work, and only now was I experiencing a different kind of joy. In the peak of August, Alex messaged me. Isn't it about time? You've practically become a travel blogger, making everyone jealous with your posts every day. Isn't it time to come back and be a corporate slave? I texted back, laughing. You're not even employed and you're already thinking about being a slave. How pathetic are you? Alex chuckled. I'm proud of it. So, when are you coming back? The guys are all waiting for you to start over with them. I looked at my suitcase and smiled. Get ready and wait. I've already landed. This time, it'll definitely take you all to ring the bell at Nasdaq. In the distance, the sun was rising, its rays brilliant and hopeful.